Good morning. Happy Monday, February 23rd, Destin 30A, Inlet Beach, wherever you're watching for or trying to pay attention to, man. I'm excited. Lots going on. Fun weekend. Got cold again. A lot of people are excited about that. Honestly, it's clear and cold. I think they felt like they'd already put the clothes up for the year because it got like 70 on us last week. But when I say cold, guys, it's probably in the 50s with a little wind, feels like 40s. But man, it's beautiful. If you haven't seen the beach this time of year, it's when it's its best. The water stays calm, the white sand. I'm going to get out there and do some stuff this week and show you. I'm going to walk the beach and do a video for you. We are long overdue for that, but plenty to get to. Thank you for watching, and let's dive right into it. Again, if this is your first time, my name is Casey Joyner. We do this every Monday, and I want to tell you about the week that was. And over the last 72 hours, we say that's what happened over the last 7 days and show you the forecast. So listen, new listings. Here we go. 50. Okay. Listen, if you watched last week or you're just kind of catching up, we've had 2 weeks so far this year where we jumped into the 80s on new listings. And we didn't love it, right? Like we didn't love that. That was out of character for this time of year. This is getting closer to spring break. I was expecting a little bit of spike. I'll take 50, okay? High 40s and 50s where we want to be for consistency. We just had 2 rushes of 80s. I think last week was because of the long weekend. I think last week was because a lot of people took their listings down, brought them back on the market as new listings, and that skewed the numbers off, okay? So that's what that was. So 50. Let's see how we did on pendings. 35. We're doing it. We are doing it. So team pending properties is the most consistent team in the nation right now as far as 30A and Destin real estate. Like they are rock solid. They are dependable. They get out there on the field and they produce every week. And this week, they produced a little bit more. We've been back in the high 20s. But look, we're over that 50% threshold where we've got new listings at 50. All we need is 25 to hit that mark where we feel like we're digging into that saturation rate, right? We're taking some new listings off. But when we're hitting 35 and 50, I love it. Let's keep this pace going, okay? Close 25 makes total sense. We've got some closing this week. We're going to get those across the finish line. Super consistent. Financing's working good. We're not having big surprises on the back end on audits and things like that. Everybody's got their rates locked. Like the system's flowing. I'm going to talk more about that in a second. Let's see. Price changes. Where are you? 48. Man, listen. One of the biggest changes for me, and maybe for you, from this time last year and in the spring is the price changes are not in massive bulk. And again, I think a little bit of that, and this is what makes me even more encouraged about the new listings. You guys know I did this a couple of weeks ago. I showed you the real truth about the active inventory, right? I showed you the scale where this time last year we're actually down versus what we were. You guys are educated on that, you know. I think what's happening with these new listings is, and the reason the price changes are going down, is the market is getting smart that instead of just doing a price change, I can take it down off the market for a couple of days, bring it back on the market as a new listing, and it seems to get me more calls or more attentions because it's showing up as a new listing. So if you're a buyer and you're watching your inbox and it says new listing versus a price reduction, you might be more inclined to get excited about that and check into it. And maybe that new price, put it in a price zone where you actually saw it for the first time and you feel like it's new. I'm doing that. I'm doing that on one this week. I'm doing it because I'm allowed to. I wish it were like true story where a new listing can only be moved to a price reduction instead of kind of manipulating the system. But that's what it is. But that also, I think, goes into the amount of inventory. So that's why I'm not too concerned about it, because I think our trend is the inventory is settling down and we're eating through it with this consistency on the pending. Okay. So that's super interesting. Let me talk to you about this. Here's another fact from the field that I want to tell you because I wrote some contracts and the investors are coming out to play. My most recent contracts have been investor plays, and that was a little bit quiet for a while. But here's the thing. I'm trying to tell you, hey, buyers, if you're in the market, now is the time of year that it is really good for you to secure a property, to enjoy the fruit of the year across the board on the rentals. And I will tell you, after what I do for a buyer when we're going through the process, I asked the listing agent, hey, can you get me the actual bookings on the books for 2026 currently in place? Because I want to show my buyer what is that instant gratification that is coming right back to you as soon as you close. Now, if this were October, that instant gratification has to delay until like February, March. You might get a couple of things over Thanksgiving and Christmas, but the bulk of what you're going to be doing, you're waiting months to get. This time of year, you still got Easter and everything ahead of you. We're still 40 days out from Easter. You can get anything closed right now before that, and you just take it all. You get all 90 days of summer from Memorial Day to Labor Day and October. So it's like that. That's why it's picking up. The other reason is that, all right, so the rentals have stabilized. It looks like they know what they're doing this year, and they've got rentals coming in. It looks like my sellers are happy with the amount of money they're getting for their rentals. It's not incredibly higher, but it's consistent, right? It looks like we're going to have the traffic back. I mean, it looks like people are coming in town. We're going to get another rental expert on here to talk about how that's tracking and trending. But this is just me doing discovery for my people and for my listings, showing that this year is going to be good. This year is going to have good, solid rental. The buyers are now realizing that the rates are pretty much what they're going to be. Insurance has settled down. You guys saw Drew a couple of weeks ago. Insurance has settled down. So we have these equations, guys, and we finally can kind of sit down and go, okay, here's the math. Here's what you can expect. Does this work for you? And the market in large part is saying yes, because I think there was fear that they would miss out on something like rates would take a nosedive, right? We don't think that's going to happen anymore, right? So I think that's why the market's going through, and they like the rentals that are on the books, okay? So that's where I'm at. That's a large part of what I'm doing right now. The second home stuff is still active. We had a busy week on a couple of our second home stuff. Primary, once it gets a little bit warmer, they get moving a little bit. But the investors, like, I'm proud of you, the ones that are stepping up right now, because I want to see you get as much of this year in rental as you can, okay? That's a key part. That's what's important right now. So listen, I'm going to get on the beach this week and talk to you about, there was an important decision on customary use that just hit. We got to talk about it. I'm going to do a separate video on that. Going to do 2 more property videos today on some exciting new listings. Can't wait to bring you those. And as always, if you're hearing something out in the field, I had somebody text me and go, hey, Casey, you mind talking about this? I'd like to learn a little bit more about it. Listen, I welcome that. Like, if there's something you're not getting from our daily discussions, not daily, maybe I'll start coming daily, Monday discussions, bring it to me. And I would love to make that happen. I got a little glitch here. Hoping that doesn't end anything. Anyway, and if I can say goodbye, we'll just say goodbye.